Oh my God.
There he is.
We're back.
There he is.
We're back after our first long hiatus.
It's great to see you. Welcome back to California, to your home state, or your current home state.
My adopted home current state before I moved to Alaska and give everything up.
How was your trip?
The trip was pretty amazing. Traveling across this great country of ours, I discovered the most amazing thing that I think most people don't know about. Do you know about Buc-ee's?
I do not know about Buc-ee's. Tell me, is that have to do with the Buckeye State somehow? Is that
No, nothing to do with the Buckeye State. When you travel across the country, rest stops and truck stops and places where you can stop, get a snack, gas up, use a restroom.
Very important.
Very important. Very important. And a lot of Super A or what, I don't remember, Flying J, different truck stops, the Tom Everett Scott rest stop on the New Jersey Turnpike.
Yes.
Doesn't he have one now, Tom Everett Scott?
I think Tom Skerritt has one. I know.
Yeah.
Tom Skerritt Memorial Rest Stop.
Exactly. And so Bruce and I started seeing signs for Buc-ee's. We have the cleanest restrooms. So we thought it was going to be like a 7-Eleven or Circle K type of place to stop at. And we finally thought, okay, we got to try one of these Buc-ee's. And we pulled into the Buc-ee's just 20 miles or so east of Houston. And it is the Disneyland of rest stops.
When you say that, do you mean that is like Mickey Mouse greet you at the door, or
no? But Buc-ee is a beaver. The mascot is Buc-ee the beaver.
Oh, so it's full on entertainment.
Oh yeah, I mean they don't have rides or anything, but there's Buc-ee's merch. They're famous for the Buc-ee Nuggies, Buc-ee's Nuggies, and Buc-ee's Nuggets. Which you might want to.
Can you get a bucket of Buc-ee's Nuggets?
Bucket of Buc-ee Nuggets, Beaver Nuggets,
okay,
and a wall of jerky. A wall of jerky.
So it really sounds it's entertaining for the whole family, for everybody.
And we bought Buc-ee's bathing suits and Buc-ee's shot glasses for the company, for all three of us, for Mark and Bruce and I. And I do have
for the photo shoot.
Yeah, for the photo shoot of us in our Buc-ee's swim shorts. But I do have a photo I can share here of Buc-ee's. I have a whole series of road trip photographs, if I can find them. Where the heck are they? Oh, here they are. Hold on, I have to get us to the right photo to start off.
You are producing the hell out of this show right now. I just want you to know that we haven't skipped a beat.
I'm just an actor. Okay, so there's the menu for Fat Matt's Rib Shack in Atlanta, and as you can see, I'm representing. I bought the T-shirt for Fat Matt's.
Is the menu on the back of the T-shirt?
No, it's unfortunately not. But they were truly some of the best ribs I've ever had. Then this was a bar that I just thought was had a really wonderful sign. It's a bar and a daycare center for adults. That's true. But here's the panoramic shot that I took of Buc-ee's for your.
It is big. It's a whole thing.
It just goes on and on.
Wow.
Yeah. It's.
Is it got a Chuck E. Cheese kind of vibe? No, it's just a store.
Well, but no, they have a full on barbecue center in the middle of it where you can get chopped brisket or sliced brisket sandwiches that were actually quite good.
Okay.
Clothes, shot glasses, coffee mugs.
But no rides.
No rides. Just it's like the Target of rest stops.
Are there any animatronic creatures?
No, but there is a 4 foot tall Buc-ee statue out front.
Okay.
And I did get a photograph of myself with the Bucky statue, but I don't have it here to share now.
Kind of like a Bob's Big Boy as a beaver kind of thing, huh?
Bob's Big Boy as a beaver. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, so if you're telling me that out of the last 14 days,
16,
what you
days
got for me is a rest stop.
and jerky.
Stories about a rest stop and jerky.
Great jerky.
Well, actually I was gonna say something mean, but there's no need to do that because that is a drive across America, folks. That is it. This
great land of ours. No, the trip was incredibly successful. Bartenders across the land loved our beverage.
Okay, that's great news.
We are moving ahead, so the trip could not have gone better.
For a new viewer, what can you say? Can you say the name of the beverage?
Well, we're still working. We're holding off on really advertising the name because we're waiting for final approval on the trademark. But rest assured, we will be saying the name once we have that trademark.
But you're still going with the cartoon of Gene Shalit for the sticker, right?
Yes. Yeah. That'll be the name of one of our cocktails. The Gene Shalit.
The Gene Shalit. That would be great.
It has shallots in it.
Shallots and a pickle for some reason.
You know what? I hate to say it, but I would.
Yeah, I think I would try it too.
I would drink that. A drink with shallots and a pickle?
Yeah, I think I'd do that.
I'm a Jew. Mix that with vodka and I'm drinking.
You got to do it. You got to do it.
Schlivovitz, a pickle, and shallots.
Really fancy places make the straw out of the pickle.
Boy, you'd think it's good this isn't a movie show. We got many of other things to talk about.
We got foods, we got rest stops.
I can tell you a story about my latest haircut adventure, which you're seeing the results of.
Okay, well, it seems like you went all the way with it. I was
a little shaggy from being on the road. Right?
Okay,
a little shaggy. And I'm house sitting for a friend right now, and I got my clippers out that I've been doing my own little haircuts during the pandemic, and it's a clipper made by Remington that has guides, different size guides, so that you can trim it to different lengths. And I decided to go out in the backyard and do it outside. It's a fully enclosed backyard, and that way I don't have to vacuum any hair up or anything.
I take the guide let it blow into the neighbor's yard. It's great. What is this? The next morning, what is this in our yard? It's like a scene from Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's human hair. Why is human hair floating around our backyard?
Yeah. So I take the guide off that the length that I wanted, the right guide, and took the trimmer apart to brush old hair out and make sure everything's right. Put it back together and start trimming. I lean over and start trimming, and I'm looking at the ground. And I'm saying, boy, that's a lot more hair than I expected to come off. And then I realized that I had forgotten to put the guide back on.
Wow.
I had one big stripe. And I'm like, well, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah. And now, I realize, you got to just commit and go full on.
Yeah.
And now you're also wearing an orange t-shirt, which I got to tell you, can I see the ankle bracelet? Where's
oh dear. Yeah. That's yeah.
Well, you got a good head. You got a good shaped head, so it's fine.
Well, thank you. I think especially for the people listening to this on the podcast, rather than watching it on YouTube, yes, my head is extraordinary.
Very bright and shining and clearly present.
And red. And yes. I look for some reason with the lighting here, I look like an outtake from Scanners. Like I have high blood pressure and my head is about to explode.
Or like Mr. Clean. You do have a bit of a Mr. Clean vibe right now.
A red Mr. Clean, the Russian Mr. Clean.
Right.
Yeah. And I do think, we're going to have a better show now because I'm on the West Coast and 6:00 is before my bedtime rather
Right.
than 9:00 being my actual bedtime. I should be awake for most of the show now.
You seem completely present, awake, ready to go. You seem great.
More energetic
refreshed
than you've seen me in a long time.
Yeah. Me, on the other hand, I'm the same sloppy, exhausted bastard that I was when I last saw you.
Do you have any great adventures that you had while I was on the road?
Any great adventures? No, I wouldn't say that I had any great adventures. I've been just actually, I mean, that's actually not true. Just being out in the world a little bit more has been kind of a great adventure. Being able to be mask free some of the time and re-enter life and see a few friends, and that's just been great. So I mean, that's all the adventure I could possibly need. But honestly, it's I need to do it slowly. Like it's just I feel like a little tiny fish coming out of a cave, like looking around going, whoa, what's out there, man? It's weird. It's weird to re-enter society again.
Yeah.
It's good, weird, but just very very strange. So
you're talking to a guy who for 2.5 weeks was in bars every night.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to LA and it was like, okay, good. I can go back into my cave now. And I want to stay here.
Yeah. It's a nice place you got there. That's nice. You're going to be there for...
I'm house sitting for one of the other professors at Chapman. He and his wife are out of town for a month and a half, and they asked me to stay and take care of the cats. And I love cats, so
that's great. You got company. Do they like you so far? Are they
They're both rescues and very afraid of everybody, so they're not coming out a lot. But I figure this is the finished garage, which is the office. I figure if I sit in here and do my work and ignore them,
they'll come around.
They'll come around, maybe.
Yeah, they'll come around.
We can
they'll be doing figure eights around your legs at that desk.
Yeah.
In a week and a half.
So you watching anything good?
Let's see. Am I watching or hearing anything good?
Hearing about anything good in the movie television universe?
No. I'm completely idiotically there's some stuff I want to see, I guess, that's coming up. But no, I mean, I honestly kind of, I spend like most of the stuff I watch is like older films I haven't had a chance to see yet, Right. I mean, honestly, like it was exciting. I finally got to see, the director Agnes Varda, French New Wave, like pretty much at the start of the French New Wave. She was one of the big names of that whole thing.
Did she direct any episodes of How I Met Your Mother?
No, but she did. She was a co-creator of Frasier. I don't know if that helps.
Okay, yeah. Then I do know her work. Yes.
Wonderful. And I got to see a classic, her film called Cleo from 5 to 9, and it's a classic black and white French New Wave movie from like the early 60s that it's famous, and I'd never gotten a chance to see it before, and I finally got to see that.
Cleo from 5 to 9.
Cleo from 5 to 9, and it's it's like a Criterion classic collection film, and very artful. But
the movie 9 to 5 covered the rest of her day.
Yes, pretty much.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I recommend it for film class, like as an example of something for your film students. It's a great one. And Agnes Varda being, arguably one of the most famous women directors in history, and this film just lives up to the reputation. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, it's a movie that clearly inspired like Fellini and inspired Ingmar Bergman. Like it's that heavy. So that sounds really, deep dish and hi-hat and fancy, but that's what I did.
Wow. I, on the other hand, am planning after the show tonight to go watch The Ice Road, the new
Ice Road Truckers.
No, it's just called The Ice Road, and it's the new Liam Neeson action movie on
Did somebody take his daughter, or is it his nephew this time?
No, I think it's miners in the frozen north are trapped and they have to get equipment to them and drive trucks over the ice roads, and people are trying to stop them for some reason. I don't know.
That sounds great. I think we should get Liam Neeson for that movie.
Things will slide and blow up. You know,
I will now. You've got me going.
a truck will be racing, cracking ice across the frozen tundra lake, that kind of thing.
Kind of a wages of ice.
Well, yeah, mindless. But I have heard phenomenal things about Hacks.
I have too. I haven't seen it yet.
So that I'm planning on watching because Jean Smart is.
Yes.
Well, she was a revelation in Mayor of Easttown.
She's fantastic.
Yeah.
She's fantastic. I'm looking at my Bujo journal to see if on my little movie list. Because you've got me just addicted to
the Bujo.
I can't get away from it now.
Yeah.
I'm looking to see if I've missed anything. We've seen some fun stuff, but like for instance, we rewatched Dante's Peak, which I'm almost sorry that we didn't watch for the show because it's quite something.
Okay. Well, we can get to that.
A very, very well done horror thriller called Saint Maud. Can recommend that to you horror fans out there. That's a terrific movie. Yeah. How about yourself? Did you see anything on the road, or probably
we didn't watch TV on the road? There was one night where we got to the hotel early. It was in a town that we knew we weren't going to go to any bars in this one particular town, so we took a night off, and we started watching Wonder Woman 1984. We watched We watched the first 20 minutes of that. And
then does Sync change the channel?
That if a movie has Gal Gadot in it and you can only watch 20 minutes of it, I don't think you need to say anything else.
It's not a movie that you particularly cared for. Well, I don't think you were alone. I think a lot of people weren't pleased with that film. I'm not interested in comic book movies per se, so didn't see it.
Yeah.
Nor was I in a hotel where there was nothing else to do but turn that on. So
right.
So it's guaranteed I would have done the same thing.
I feel it incumbent upon me to say that we are doing a talk show about movies where in each episode we discuss a movie. And we are almost 20 minutes into the show, and we haven't mentioned the movie that we're going to be talking about, its title or anything else about it.
We are doing it right.
We're about ready to sign off now.
We're doing it right. Well, that's accidental because this movie deserves a discussion. I think that's just the truth of the matter. I think we should get into it. I think we should talk about this movie. I mean, I chose it because in honor of your road trip.
Yes, I understand, but I do have a question. Had you seen this movie?
No, I just knew of its reputation.
Okay. And what is its reputation?
Its reputation is it's a very well-regarded true grindhouse classic. It's well regarded in the grindhouse within the grindhouse, fandom.
Gotcha. Okay. And give for the listeners who don't know, and I'm asking for a friend. Give us a good definition of grindhouse.
Well,
it's one of those things where I know what it is, but if somebody asked me, I would never be able to tell them what it was.
Grindhouse was like was what they called the circuit of theaters that showed really, really super low budget or exploitation style movies in the 60s and 70s. They weren't like art movies and you'd go to an art house for that. And they had, I think they started in the South, but there were chains of theaters that were showed grindhouse cinema. And I actually I don't even know where the actual term, like why it's called grindhouse.
Right.
I'm
Maybe
assuming it
because
has
they
some.
grind them out.
I think they grind him out. It might have something to do with kind of a bump and grind, like Sexy. It's kind of illicit. A lot of them are exploitation movies and stuff. So,
Right. That could have helped. That could have helped this movie. I think a little more exploitation.
Oh, we're gonna have. Oh boy, we're gonna go for it. This is gonna be interesting because I don't. Okay, all right. We're not in territory that you seem to. You don't like this movie. I'm getting the feeling you had trouble with it.
No, I thought it was spectacular. I can't wait to watch it again.
Okay.
You want to give the recap? Do you want me to give a recap of what this movie is about?
Oh, I'd like to hear your recap of it.
My recap? Okay.
I would like to hear your recap.
Good buddies, Peter Fonda and Warren Oates and their wives. Warren Oates is married to Loretta Swit, and Peter Fonda is married to, oh dear, what was her name? Parker, Lana Parker? Lana Parker. Lara Parker?
Lara Parker. I think it's Lara. Hold on. I got
somebody Parker. A woman
like Lara Parker.
Lara Parker. The four of them, couples, friends, own race motorcycles, own a motorcycle shop, race motorcycles, been working really hard building their business for years and years and doing their racing. And now they're finally going to take a vacation together, the two couples, and they buy one of the ultimate RVs to go on their vacation. And on their first night out, they avoid the well-traveled highways and byways and go off into the wilderness and park their RV and the two guys get drunk and then witness a satanic cult murder. And then they are witnessed by the satanic cult witnessing the murder and then chased for the rest of the movie by the satanic cult members who apparently are everybody else in the United States.
Certainly the whole of southern Texas.
West Texas, which I just drove through, and none of this movie was a surprise after doing that. That's what it felt like for about 600 miles.
Yeah, that's why I picked this. I knew the details. I knew the stats.
Spoiler alert, if you don't want to know what happens after they've been battling the satanic cult for 600 miles trying to get to Amarillo, if you don't want to know what happens, turn your sound down right now. I'm going to count to 3. 1, 2, turn your sound down. 3. They are murdered by the satanic cult. Okay, you can turn your sound back up.
They won't hear that. They don't know.
They won't hear that. Hopefully they'll turn their sound back up.
No, that's on the podcast. They're not going to see that. So we're done. This is the show. We got to start this over again.
Good night, everybody. So was that a fair recap? There's many, was that?
Well, I think that's a fair recap of the plot of the movie. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now explain to me how wonderful this movie is.
It's great. I mean, I honestly couldn't imagine what anybody's problem with it could be.
Okay, well, all right. Let me start with this. I can use one word to describe the entire performance of each of the 4 main actors in this movie. Peter Fonda, bored. Warren Oates has gas.
Loretta Swit. Words.
All right. All right. Gas. Loretta Swit, anxious. Lara Parker, freaked.
Okay.
That's like one-note performances of each of them through the entire movie.
Have you ever seen a Grindhouse movie before?
Yes, I've seen other Grindhouse movies.
And do they have layered? Are you like, wow, the layered performances in all those Grindhouse movies? It's just so uniquely flat.
Yeah, but I love Warren Oates, but he just looked like he had gas, whether they were deciding where to park the RV, whether they were getting drunk, or whether they were getting attacked by crazed killer devil worshippers. He just looked like he had gas.
I think that's part of his charm.
That's the level of interest and anxiety that he had through the whole movie. It was
definitely
like,
part of his charm.
I've got a little.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say? It's this is I bought this movie this afternoon. I saw it last night. I ordered it immediately. Ordered it on Amazon on Blu-ray. It's coming as soon as possible.
Because you want to watch it over and over again and study it.
You think I'm kidding? I'll show you the receipt.
I don't think you're kidding.
No, I think I thought it was great. I actually was kind of upset that I'd never seen it before and I was so late to the party. I think it's one of the best. It may be the best American Grindhouse movie I've ever seen. And I don't know how you could have a problem with a movie that's basically Deliverance meets The Road Warrior and then go down an alley to Rosemary's Baby Town. It's like the best trio of things I've ever seen in a film. It came before The Hills Have Eyes. It came before Mad Max. This has got some of the greatest, like, no budget car chases and RV stunts and craziness that you'll see from that period. I mean, it's 1975, no budget, just genius filmmaking.
Yeah,
absolutely.
some of that stuff is fun. Some of the car stuff is fun, but I'm gonna hazard a guess at your favorite sequence in the entire movie. I might be wrong, but I'm gonna hazard a guess. I say it's ski pole versus rattlesnake.
Yeah, that was pretty high on my list, but so was the RV attack while they're riding on the highway that was stolen from, like, the Road Warrior stole. You know, like Peter Fonda getting on top of the RV while it's driving down the highway and stuff, fighting off Satanists who were trying to climb into it. I thought it was brilliant. I mean, I just love this. I love this movie. I love it.
Since you brought that up, I'm going to share one of my favorite images from the entire film. Here we go. Well, I forgot how to produce. Here we go. I call this shot porthole. Are you ready? There we go.
That's awesome. That's so great.
That is a pretty spectacular sequence.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's just fantastic.
You want to describe for our viewers what we're witnessing here?
Well, the Satanists, if you've all seen Road Warrior, I mean, it's the same principle. They're trying to get away from these Satanists who are driving up in pickup trucks and stuff, and trying to ram them off the road, and some of them climb onto the sides of the RV as it's going 60 miles an hour down the highway. And this gentleman has leapt off a truck, and he's grabbed onto the door of the RV as it's driving down the highway. And there's a great stunt actually here where as they wait until they go over a bridge, and I think it's Warren Oates who kicks the door open.
No, it's Henry Fonda. I mean,
Peter Fonda. Peter Fonda kicks the door open. That's right, because Oates is driving at that point. And just as they're going over a bridge, you can't drive without gas.
That's true.
You can't.
Yeah.
And he goes flying off the door into, over the side of a bridge into a river. It's just great. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. I'm in love with this movie. Absolutely in love with it. And
I did love the title sequence. I thought the title sequence was spectacular.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. The tree, the optical, like that great optical weird print they had of that tree on fire, and it's great.
Some great stuff. There was some stuff that I noticed that I liked, but let me go before we get to that. Let me start with the stuff I didn't like, and you can hold on. I dropped something. I'm picking it up, and I'm back. You can school me. I'm always happy to be schooled by you, because many times my opinion is changed by you,
Okay.
and my horizons are broadened by your tutelage. I can use that word.
They sound insufferable when you say that.
No, you're not. You're not at all insufferable. There are aspects of film and film history that you know, many aspects that you know so much better than I do, and you expand my horizons, and I appreciate that. Where I have trouble is with certain things like, I can respect that this is low budget and grindhouse, and we're doing things on the fly, but there's certain things that I think, like, did anybody think about this aspect at all? Like, where was the thought about something like, for instance, when we talk about maybe the clothes that people are wearing on a camping trip where they're going into the woods, and Warren Oates is going into the woods and he's wearing a sport coat.
But I think, all right.
And
you don't think that's on purpose? I mean, because this movie comes after the Deliverance, right? And Deliverance, it's the same story almost as Deliverance, except they don't include like the whole ecological part of it. But I feel like there's a comment on modern at the time kind of suburban guys who think they're tough guys and aren't really, I mean, I think it's critiquing them and the RV life a little bit, and I think it points up the way they dress kind of points up that they are ill prepared, and they are kind of thinking of this as like they're like going in to do a catalog. It's like a catalog, like a catalog you get in the mail, like they're going to some kind of fantasy of suburban, high style 70s living. And I thought that was kind of on purpose.
Huh. Yeah. Because in Deliverance, I see that, that's very much man versus nature, and they're ill prepared for that. And they're going into a world that of people they don't know. But the people who go into on RV weekends, it's not like they're survivalists. They're all the people who take their RVs out for a weekend are schmucks who can afford an expensive RV.
But in 1975, I think this was, I think it was kind of a knowing look at that in a way. Like I think that was to me one of the things I dug about it. I thought it was kind of like what they were doing about man versus nature was almost kind of this end of the 60s thing. Like having Peter Fonda in this movie, I thought was also really extraordinary, because it's kind of bookended with Easy Rider, like this whole trip across America that he's taking, starting as a hippie and Easy Rider, now has turned into this very kind of like polished, hair blown out guy who drives fancy motorcycles, and they're taking a trip, and this is the new America post Manson, and it's like to me it's like it's referencing like this Altamont feeling of like what happened to the 60s, and these people that used to be maybe idealistic biker guys turned into these kind of sellout corporate guys who want to live the good life. And
okay, I mean, I would buy that, except if you're going to do that, then the flip side that they are in opposition to has to have something to do with that thing that you're saying. But it doesn't.
How does it? Yeah, it does.
It's just Satan. It's just crazy Satanists.
No, but in 1975, like a few years after Manson, the idea of Satanists living out in the desert was people at that time, I think, were dealing with the death of the 60s, and we were living in this kind of morbid 70s kind of vibe after all the flower and beauty and like astral beauty of the 60s was over at Altamont, and which happened, this, I think that was it Altamont or Woodstock? Anyway, the Manson murders happened the same month as I guess Woodstock. So it kind of like ended there. And I feel like this movie is saying something about, and it may not be saying it eloquently because it's a grindhouse movie, but that's one of the pleasures I think of a grindhouse movie is that they're all coked out making this film. They're like crazy. They're 70s, like they've got no budget, no time. And they've got some great ideas and they don't quite know how to get them in there, but they're going to give you some great ideas and an amazing car chase, and you can eat a chili dog and see some great trailers and previews. And that to me, the joy of it, I just couldn't contain my joy. Everything that I love about movies was in this movie. And I will tell you that I for a while, I was like, someone could tell me that I was watching a Tarantino movie and I would say, yes, he could have directed this film.
Well, you just tapped into exactly what the problem is and why I didn't like it, which I just realized is that I was not eating a chili dog.
Well, that's imperative.
If I had been eating a chili dog, I would have loved this freaking movie.
You probably would have enjoyed, a Wagnerian ring cycle eating a chili dog, though.
Yes. Okay. Can you explain to me the Hendersons and the No Reason bar fight? What the hell was that doing in this movie? It's like, you know what this movie needs? We haven't had a bar fight.
Yeah. But I think that may not be far from the truth.
Okay.
I mean, you have to appreciate the spirit in which these things are made. I think that's pretty important. There's so many different.
Understand. But when I'm talking to my students, I tell them, the fact that you want a bar fight in your movie is not a good enough reason to put one in your movie.
You're such a plot guy. Wow, you're relentlessly plot driven.
I am relentlessly plot driven.
Yeah, atmosphere, tone, like themes mean nothing to you, but plot is all.
No, plot, tone, character, theme should all be a unity.
Okay, so that means you like 4 movies. I mean, you're really cutting down on. I think. Okay, I'll go. We'll get serious for a second here. I hear you, but I think within this, I also hear something that I hear from a lot of people when they talk about movies like this, and I'm going to come to its defense in a way and say that you're all wrong. It's pure cinema. It's absolutely pure, 100%, 100 proof, high octane cinema, and it's visual storytelling, it's energy, it's kinetic, it's amazing stunt work and choreography at a shoestring, and it's. I think it's about more than you're. I think it's about more than you're seeing.
Well, I think I agree with a lot of what you're saying, and I think that while you're doing all of that on a shoestring budget, you can still have good performances and a plot that hangs together.
I don't know what I love these performances. I think these are great performances. Loretta Swit has never been better in her life. I think that what you call
a low bar.
Oh, dude, you're a mean bastard. You don't see. Here's the thing: you don't like movies very much. You like the movies that you like, but you don't like movies. I just figured it out.
Wow.
You like the movies that you like, but you don't really like movies.
I don't like all of anything. Like when somebody says to me, "I love dogs," I'm like, I don't love dogs. There are dogs that I love.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love food. There is food that I love. I love the what I consider to be the best expression of a thing. And there have been, movies of this, like you keep mentioning the Road Warrior. I love Road Warrior because I think it has brilliant performances, and I think it's incredibly well constructed. And it wasn't that long after this.
It was 5 years later.
Yeah. So they could have, in terms of performance and story structure, they could have done that to this. There weren't, in those 5 years, they didn't advance the art of story so much that they couldn't have plugged the story problems in this movie.
Mm-hmm. I understand. I guess what I'm saying is that I feel a lack of affection for this. I feel that you have zero affection for it, and that's
for
where
this movie.
Movies of this ilk, because to me this is not just this movie. I honestly feel this is a prime example of a style of filmmaking and a kind of film that includes some weird angles and includes some possible, you could maybe call poor performances. I disagree. I think Warren Oates is great in this. I don't find him gaseous. I find him terrified. I think he's playing suppressed fear and terror very well through this movie. I didn't get that he was bored. I thought it was interesting that he was incredibly boisterous and excited in the beginning and excitable. And that was his version of masculinity. And as the movie went on, he just got quieter and quieter and quieter and more just inward. And I thought that was fascinating. I thought it was interesting how they both kind of accessed their inner badass. And I thought it was also just great, pleasurable, yes, ridiculous, but fantastically pleasurable grindhouse filmmaking when they're like, okay, I guess we just got to do it now, huh? And they go to the gun shop and they get the shotgun and they know how to do all this shit. And it's just, that sounds incongruous to some people. And to me, that was just heaven. It was just like, it was its own form of kind of, it's like, I feel like it's like French New Wave to me. It's very, I feel that way about these movies, I guess, that maybe some people felt about French New Wave stuff. So I just have so much affection for it. And I get it, man. I think pictures, a lot of like pictures that figured out how to do some stuff, that studied these grindhouse movies that owe everything to them. They polished this stuff. They got it looking a little bit fancier. They may have had better taste in performances. A lot of these movies were made with drug money and may not have been legal at all. And who knows if anybody had any, any experience in front of a camera.
Right.
But,
no, I think we know that many of these people didn't have any experience in front of the camera. So
okay.
some of these people.
Okay.
In this movie.
I can't, I can't defend it, except I can tell you it is the absolute best movie about Satanists going after people in an RV.
It is the best one of those.
It's better than Hills Have Eyes, and that's I know that's sacrilege to some people, but this to me is far better.
I want to check in about a couple of there was one sequence that I thought was quite interesting, because to give you your due, I'm going to at first I thought it was ridiculous, but now I'm gonna go with the idea that this was on purpose. And if it was on purpose, it was an interesting choice. When they jump into the pool at the RV community that they pull into at one point, when they think they're safe, and the two women jump into the pool, and the pool is filled with people, right? You look angry at me already.
I'm just hurt. That's all. I'm just hurt. I thought we were going to have a nice time this tonight.
No, I'm giving you your due and saying I'm going to assume this was on purpose, and if it was on purpose, then to the credit of the filmmakers, if this was a conscious choice, it was very smart. It was a very interesting thing that they jump into this pool that's filled with people, and yet when Lara Kelly starts to feel paranoid and that the people are looking at her, that she's still surrounded by Satanists.
Yeah. She's alone in the water.
Are not close-ups. There you see a lot of the pool. You still hear everybody, but she's alone in the pool. And that was very interesting.
Right.
And if that was on purpose and not because they shot it later for budgetary reasons and they didn't have any people, then that was an interesting choice.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Here's where I am at that. I mean, I think it's an interesting choice is one thing, but a film isn't a performance. It's a piece of physical art. So whether or not it's on purpose, it's there, and so therefore it's intent. It's up to you to interpret it however you want. Doesn't matter whether it was on purpose, because Jackson Pollock isn't necessarily on purpose, but it's on purpose. It's on purposely and not on purpose. So, they could have done it for budgetary reasons and then done it and gone, wow, that's cool. If they were smart, I guarantee you what happened. They did it for budget and then cut it and then went, actually, that's really weird. That really works. Okay. Which is how a lot of movies get made. They're not all planned out too much beforehand. And I think, I guess how I can equate these kinds of movies to punk rock, which I know you're also not a fan of. That's not your.
How do you know? How do you know that?
I never saw you at a DK show. That's why.
Because you met me once.
There's an aesthetic that goes with both of these kinds of things. This grindhouse aesthetic and punk rock aesthetic that appeals to me. I like that some of it's out of tune. I like that some of it's, doesn't rhyme well. I like that some of it's kind of like sounds like it was recorded in a toilet sometimes as punk rock goes. I like movies that reflect that thing because I really love the energy that happens with other parts of the movie. Maybe because that's where their focus is going. It's about the energy. It's about the kinetic experience to me, and taking it at face value that way is just very much pleasurable to me. It's a very adrenaline filled kinetic experience. That's not about. It almost would fall apart if it took care of all these details and made something that worked. In all ways. Okay. And I know it sounds like a cop out, but it's like, I mean, maybe you feel that this is a bad chili dog. I think that a chili dog, it's got some strikes against it. It's not refined. It's not good for you. A great chef could probably do a lot of things to a chili dog that would make it really fancy, but it would suck.
That's true. No, I like a Pink's chili dog. You're talking to the guy who likes the Pink's chili cheese burrito dog.
Well, this is why I mentioned why I'm talking about dogs, because you know about cheese dogs. Yeah. So this is what I've been trying to think. I wasn't upset. I've been trying to think about what it is that why these things don't matter to me, is because in a way I feel like to make these really good performances and really connected dots with all this stuff and a really sound script would be to completely destroy the ability to make a movie this crazy. It just couldn't happen. This movie feels dangerous. It feels out of control. It feels like everybody was it is the best of the 70s to me in terms of what we can't see anymore. We'll never see movies made like this again.
Okay.
And I think you do not have a certain edge or feeling to movies that that have all the kinks smoothed out somehow. To me, it's like that chili dog. It's got to have something wrong with it.
All right.
And I'm not saying it has to have dirt on it or hair in it. I'm just like, I don't think this does.
A chili dog guaranteed has hair in it.
Well,
somewhere.
you are a fan of chili dogs then.
I am. So, all right. So I've covered the stuff that I think is terrible in this movie. Now let me talk a little bit more about some of the stuff that I really like in the movie. I got great pleasure out of the very first time we met Ginger, the dog.
Mm-hmm.
Because the moment we went Ginger, I actually said out loud, "Bye-bye, Ginger."
Yeah.
Because I knew the moment we met the dog,
it's gonna die.
Dog is going to die.
Dead.
And you know me well enough to know that because I am a fan of form and formula, I loved, it's like, hey, Corporal Stewart, what are you doing? I'm writing a letter to my girlfriend.
Put down that harmonica, Stewart. Stop playing that harmonica right now.
Yeah. So I loved that. I loved the shot of the sheriff with the mounted wild boar head on the wall behind him that let us know, the sheriff is a member of a satanic cult. I thought that was fantastic foreshadowing. I loved the shot of the sheriff with the county sheriff sign next to him. Even though that is what a sheriff's star looks like, it's still a frickin' pentagram.
Mm-hmm.
And that was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Canteen bombs, canteens filled with gasoline used as bombs. The overpass cutting the guy off with the overpass. Things that made me laugh. Peter Fonda wiping his brow at the end of the huge car and truck fight when it's finally over, and he just kind of goes, phew.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I couldn't believe what I was watching. Something that made me laugh, the incredible detective work of finding the 2 books on witchcraft at the library.
Yeah. It is great.
It was like incredible detective work.
Mm-hmm. There's like scenes that are from Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Very 70s. And then there were some great lines. Well, that tears it. Frank, they're trying to screw with our brains. You can't beat that. And then with the dog, when the dog knows, of course, before everybody else that something is wrong out there in the woods. Oh, that's funny. She never acted like that before. Maybe it's too cold for her. The original, I'm getting too old for this shit.
It may be, look, it's an early one. If it's not the original, it's an early one.
Yeah, it's certainly before the Lethal Weapon movies.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And then we're going to take care of them as soon as we get to Amarillo. Now, I have a question. What is it about Amarillo that's going to allow them to take care of the murderers 800 miles back? They kept talking about that.
I think what I got was that it was the first big town that was going to have a pretty big precinct and possibly a connection to the feds, something big enough to talk to.
Okay. And the absolute winner of all time in this movie is when Loretta Swit says to Warren Oates, I think we should turn around and go back. And Warren Oates says, no way. No way. You see that? That's a ski pole. For 5 years, we've been living in hotels and hitting flat tracks. Now we're going skiing.
Yeah. They got to get to that heart-shaped tub at that hotel room. Well, they're not going to be in a hotel because they're saving all the money for the RV trip.
Yeah, the RV trip.
Yeah.
And also, I loved the scary mac and cheese.
The scary mac and cheese.
The scary mac and cheese was a great moment.
The prolonged snake fight in the trailer is, I thought, driving down the highway is fantastic.
Where the poor women just had to scream for days.
For 10 minutes of screaming in this movie, just in the snake part.
It's not.
You must have liked. I mean, I know you're a Kill Bill fan, so you're obviously you're out. I mean, you must have been pleased by those references, because Tarantino must like this movie because he uses music from it in his films and references it and stuff.
Okay.
All right. Jesus Christ.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Seriously, this is important. This is an important question. Are we still friends?
We have to talk about food. I think we have to go back to a food podcast and talk about travel and food.
Oh no, there are movies that we both like and agree about. There or do those not matter anymore?
I don't know. I really have to recalibrate. I mean, I really thought that we'd be sitting here laughing and talking about how great this movie was and how much fun it was. And I wasn't expecting a lukewarm at best reception to what I took to be like one of the thrills of lockdown for me was seeing this movie. I'm not gonna lie. I'd heard about it for years. I just thought it was like the best candy bar I've had in so long. And it has a terribly unhappy ending, which is perfect. And it's about Satanists driving after an RV through the desert. I just don't know how anybody couldn't enjoy it. And it's like at on 10, on 11. It's just so good.
Satanists pursuing an RV through the desert is your joy, the same way that Mike Hammer slapping the desk man at the health club is my joy.
Well, I'm sure. But I'm down with that one. I'm down with that too. I have I don't know. I have no taste in film at all. I just basically like everything.
Maybe I'm the one who has no. There is stuff that I like that I would argue is the worst tripe in the world. There is bad stuff that cannot be defended by any metric.
I'm gonna just I want to hear what your for instance is, but you're going to have to defend it because we're talking about movies. You cannot do that on a talk show. We're talking, so you're saying I like it. You have to tell us why and defend it.
I enjoyed 27 Dresses more than this movie.
That's sick. That's a sick thing to say. I mean, that's literally a sick thing to say. I don't even know how you could. I mean, 27 Dresses is a crime against cinema. It is a criminal act. It is a joyless exercise in vapid money grabbing horseshit. And a film that a team of people drugged out of their minds and frenzied with the joy of filmmaking spent 2 weeks busting their ass to entertain you in every possible way they knew how to do, whether they were great at it or not. You're like, nah, screw it. I like this giant bloated Hollywood piece of crap way better. I don't even know what to say.
I don't disagree with anything you just said.
Because because all you do is just go, I like it. There's no conversation. You have to defend it. Tell me why. Why is it a good movie?
It's not a good movie.
Why is
it's a horrible?
Why is it better than this?
It's not better than that. I'm not saying it's better. This may be much better than that. I'm saying I enjoyed it more.
Right.
In the same way that you could make a meal for me that was fantastic and took lots of work and was incredibly healthy, and I would hate it.
Right.
And then I could eat something that was a piece of crap and enjoy myself.
Right. Okay. I got you.
I would never say that 27 Dresses was a better movie than this.
Okay.
I would actually go so far as to say this is a better movie than 27 Dresses.
You just like shit better than good stuff. It's fine. I'm glad we cleared it up. It took a long time you could have just said that, but okay. You got some stuff off your chest. That's great. That's fine.
I'm saying that there is stuff about 27 Dresses that activates a I don't know if it would be what you'd call, you said that I love story. So when I'm watching something like 27 Dresses and I'm thinking about where it went, where the story almost worked and where they went wrong, where the performances almost work and where they go wrong, I enjoy seeing and thinking about and trying to figure that stuff out.
Well, how you try to sit there and figure out how and where it fell apart in 27 Dresses, you've already lost me, because then you're like, it falls apart in the beginning. Yeah, it keeps falling apart. Yeah, yes. Can you? Maddie is awesome.
Maddie, we did review 27 Dresses. Where have you been?
He's been traveling. Maddie has been traveling, and he has not been able to catch up with all of our podcasts.
For those of you on the podcast, Maddie Blake just said, "Can you guys please review 27 Dresses? It will be literally as exciting as getting chased by a devil with Loretta Swit." We have some important decisions to make, though. What are we gonna watch for next week?
I'm not picking it. You're gonna pick it.
Oh,
I picked this. No, I picked the last one, and it went. We see how it went. We see what happened.
All right, then I think for next week we should watch 28 Dresses.
Don't just be mean about it. We gotta, pick something. I don't know. Pick something.
Something real
that you want to see.
Okay.
From a genre that you like.
From a genre that I like. Well, let's see. Let's look at the list. Well, we don't need to make people listen to this while the show is on.
They've already tuned out, I'm sure.
They're not listening anymore. We will talk and we'll pick a movie and we'll watch it.
Unless there's requests, if anybody wants to hear us argue about any particular film that they'd like us to, we will take requests as well.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you wanted to cover in this movie, or do you just need another 5 minutes to ridicule me for being the charlatan that I am?
No, I just I need to get out of the habit of feeling I need to defend any of these films at all.
You don't have to defend them. If you and I.
No, that's my knee-jerk reaction. I mean, it's like saying you don't have to eat a chili dog or eat 70 Otter Pops. Like, you have to. It's going to happen.
I do need,
I can't control it. I can't control it. I mean, I had a real experience with this movie. I didn't ironically like it. It's not like I sat here with a freaking funny mustache on and went like, "Oh, it's stupid." I honestly was wildly impressed by how much better it was than I thought it was going to be. How much more weird, deep 60s drugged out, crazy stuff was going on in it than I thought was going to happen, and how much better shot and edited by some of the best people in the business, some from a technical standpoint. I think there's a lot to be said about that. I mean, it was edited by the guy that edited, for instance, Die Hard, among other incredibly brilliantly edited movies. It's a great example of like spaghetti Western style, just like crazy action stuff for me. So, I would recommend seeing it. Even if story and plot stuff bothers you the way it does Matthew, I think there's really stuff in it that that's fun from a 70s filmmaking point of view, and you can get a lot out of it from that.
Well, I will agree with everything that Tony just said. I agree with everything you just said, and something I think that you and I both need to focus on, being brothers and having grown up in a very intense movie watching house with
Oh,
very
yeah.
strong opinions.
Oh, yeah.
Is the idea that our opinion, neither one of our opinions, invalidates the opinion or the experience of the other.
Does it though? Is that true?
No, I'm saying it doesn't invalidate.
It doesn't?
You think your opinion invalidates?
Well, I know,
mine?
isn't that what this is kind of secretly already like about
so
though? I
one of
mean,
us-
we're
this-
we don't do sports,
So
right?
this
We didn't
is
play.
about winning. This is about winning for
This is
you.
a competition. Where did honestly? Yeah. This is a blood sport.
Oh, okay.
We don't. Yeah, we're a movie family. We don't do baseball. We don't do any of that crap. So I don't feel like we can't take.
No, Tony. I think everybody gets a trophy. Everybody gets a trophy.
Apparently, this movie didn't get a trophy though.
It
So that's
did
what
get a
we're
trophy.
talking about.
It got a trophy. It didn't get 2 trophies.
You didn't give it a trophy. You
there's
did not.
some
You
movies-
did not give this movie.
I
a trophy.
did not give this movie
So
a trophy.
it didn't. It didn't. There
But
was
it
no
still
pony
got-
here for you.
It still got a trophy.
I'm getting you a poster of this film, and I'm gonna make. I mean, it's gonna be expensive, and I'm gonna make. And
poster
you're gonna
of this
feel so
film-
bad that you're gonna put it up. You have to put it up.
I would put up a poster of this movie. I would.
It's just gonna be of Warren Oates going. Oh.
I need broom.
I think it's safe to say he may have been in a hungover instead of maybe had gas. That he's just really hungover,
Warren? Really? You think?
or on the way to being,
Between.
somewhere in between. Yeah,
He was between.
Yeah.
All right.
And okay, lest we forget, let's just have a moment for RG Armstrong. I mean,
yeah, it's spectacular.
RG. Anytime RG shows up, you're like, oh, full respect. So
No, that was some great stuff. Archie Armstrong.
And interestingly, one of the Satanists in this movie, his name is Cal Mathers, is the Satanist, is played by a guy named Paul Partain. Paul A. Partain. Fascinatingly, is in 3 of the greatest grindhouse movies like ever. He's in this, he's in Texas Chainsaw, and he's in Rolling Thunder. Same guy in all 3 movies because they're all Texas movies. What a track record. I mean, I can't imagine. You could retire and quit right there. He didn't do a lot of movies. He only did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 films. And 3 of them are 3 of the biggest classics in the genre.
Wow. Okay.
He's terrible in them. He's a terrible actor.
Okay. I do also, yeah. No, never mind. Okay. There we go. So the one other thing I do have to point out that I loved was after the enormous truck, RV, car bashing into each other chase that happens, it starts when they're about to have food. The women have cooked food and put it on plates, and it starts, and at the end of it, there is still food on the plate.
Yeah.
Everybody else has been knocked all over to hell and gone inside. Everything is falling off the walls, but there's food on the plate.
They got their drinks and they got their food. Yeah.
I loved that.
Well, why have an RV unless you can do that? I think it looks like they used to make RVs a little tougher than they do now. That thing went through hell.
Well, they also saved some money, because they were able to house the actors in the actual set while they were making the movie.
They slammed the door on them and they were like, "Good night, see you. We'll be back in the morning." Yeah,
jeez Louise. I think that's the trailer that Dad was living in during Deadhead Miles. I think it's
that's what they trained him to learn how to drive trucks in that trailer. Also, good shout out to a creepy Satan mask. I thought that was the Satan cult leader had a very scary mask. It was very creepy. Very leather face.
Yeah. And I think it was David Crosby was in that. Wasn't that him? Because the mustache, right? Wasn't that David Crosby's
That was
mustache?
clearly David Crosby.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's the real David Crosby too.
There you
I
go.
think that's really him.
That was pretty special.
Yeah. And also the authentic sweatiness that everybody had. They clearly didn't need a glycerin person on set.
No.
Like there was no fake.
Yeah, no. I just
Sweat
drove
spread.
through West Texas, and I can tell you, you do not need glycerin in West
Yeah.
Texas. Yeah.
I mean, this must have been a brutal film to make. It had to be really, really unpleasant.
Yeah, all filmed entirely in Texas.
Yes, on the road.
Yeah, so there you go. All right. Well, I think we have done this movie.
Well, whatever. Think about maybe we should swing to other Loretta Swit films. That might be the pivot we're looking for.
Ooh. What other Loretta Swit movies are there?
I'm kidding. I don't.
And the Bean.
That's right. She's in a movie called Beer.
Oh,
You like beer. You probably like this movie.
Oh my gosh. Well, we'll figure it out, and we will let you all know sometime during the week what next week's show will be.
And if anybody happens to want to throw down the gauntlet,
you can
recommend something.
You can reach us through our website, the Arkins the Arkin Brothers Talk About Movies.com. Please tell your families and friends about the fabulous show. And
it is.
Yeah, it is. Two brothers who it is good that they are separated by a continent now, or they might kill each other because they disagree about the movie.
It always makes for entertaining shows, though, when we disagree.
We'll see you next week.
I do.
Good night.